Hello, and welcome to today's Lunch and Learn. I am so glad you're here, especially at this time of year. It is December 17th today, and New Year's is right around the corner. I know some of you have been setting goals and intentions for weeks or months. Okay, I am totally in the zone. We've been working through a goal setting, dream stretching workshop series with our clients for the past several weeks since the beginning of the month. Some of you might start this goal setting or this new year intention setting once the Christmas rush slows down, and others you're going to wait till the ball drops on January 1st. However, wherever you are, you're right on time, because today I want to offer you a powerful alternative to just setting more goals, because what you don't need is more goals, more stuff, more clutter in your life. You do need a clearer anchor. And that's the thing that's going to tie everything together like a beautiful, beautiful bow. And I recently attended a brunch, and it's with a collective of women that I see on a regular basis. And it was at a beautiful restaurant. We got to wear sparkly and festive clothing. It was fantastic. But one of the things we did, because it was a year-end brunch, is we shared our words of the year. And many of us were in a vision casting or a vision boarding workshop earlier in the year, back in January. And so what we were asked is what our word of the year was. And we were also asked what the word of the year we lived was. Like, it's like, this is what you intended for it to be, but what did you really, truly live? And I thought that was super fascinating. So thank you, Kuntal, for that beautiful prompt. My word last year was simplicity. And I had a great plan. I took some great steps towards it. I did add so much more simplicity in my life in ways I didn't even have in my plan. So some things were planned, some things organically showed up, and it was great. However, when I really looked back and thought about what did I live, there was something deeper. There was something that was grounding, really spirit filled. There was a deep exploration of truth, of alignment, and honesty at a level that I've never experienced before. I feel like I've always been pretty truthful with myself. However, this year, that level it penetrated deep. So the summary of my word, after going on a big long journey trying to figure out what the thing is that I lived, was deep penetration. So we all had a great time thinking about that at brunch on a Sunday morning. However, it comes to show you that what you intend and what you live can be two very different things. There's often overlap, and one isn't better than the other. However, they are both going to turn out exactly as they are meant to be. And so one of the things that I've noticed in terms of a pattern with my word of the year is I often don't live my word of the year in that year. I do a lot of the steps, I do a lot of the work towards it. However, my words of the year typically come alive the first quarter of the following year. I don't know if that's other people's trends. A few of the ladies had also experienced that themselves. But one of the things that I thought was really neat is that's been a fairly consistent pattern in my life and something that I've come to honor. And so I've also learned that when I set a word of the year, I don't need to be so attached to it that if everything isn't working tickety-boo, it's not the end of the world, because it will unfold in God's time, not in my time. And so what I want you to know is a word of the year, it's not a deadline, it's an invitation. So what is the word of the year? A word of the year, it's not a goal, it's not a resolution, it's not a to-do list. A word of the year it's kind of like an identity anchor. It's a single word that becomes a filter for your decisions, a compass for your energy, and a way of showing up really intentionally instead of just reactively. So I want you to think of it like this. Goals ask the question, what do I want to achieve? A word answers the question, who am I choosing to be while I do it? Okay, goal, what do I want? Word of the year, who do I want to be? How do I want to show up as I step into this new adventure? And this isn't just poetic. This isn't just like oh, let's do a word of the year because I saw someone do it on Instagram. If you do, you can. That's fine. However, there's actually a neurological component. So let's get into the science of it. Your brain is a meaning making machine. Okay, so you might want to write that down if you've got a notepad. My brain is a meaning making machine. So your brain is a meaning making machine. It looks for patterns, it deletes what does not fit in, and it amplifies what you consistently focus on. When you choose a word of the year, you're engaging and you've got selective attention. Okay, your brain is going to notice the things that align with the word, and then you've got some priming happening. You're unconsciously going to look for opportunities to embody it. Okay, so what's happening in the background is you choose this word, your back of the brain goes, I'm going to just notice this, notice this, notice this, notice this. That's in alignment. And oh, look, this opportunity shows up, this opportunity shows up, and this opportunity shows up. What also happens is you've got identity-based behavior working for you. You start acting in alignment with who you believe you are. If you believe you're a simple person, for me, it was simplicity. If you believe that you can streamline, simplify, organize, you're going to believe and behave accordingly. And I think this is why often goals, they often fail, because goals, they're conscious. Your conscious mind is the goal setter. Your unconscious mind is the goal getter. But these words, these meanings, maybe if they have word pictures identified to them, these words, they work at the identity and unconscious level. And identity always wins. The unconscious mind always wins. So you want to use these words of the year to enhance your goal. Okay, they're not there to replace your goal, but they're there to support them. They act like rocket fuel. So let's say if your goal is some kind of growth in your business, if it's growth in like personal growth, maybe your word might be expansion or integrity. Might even be growth. If your goal is a more let's say a more calm and peaceful dynamic at home, where your physical space is beautiful and just a place you want to be around, where the people are calm and at ease that are living in your household, where there's structure, where there's order, your word might be peace, it might be grounded, it might be simplicity, it might be ease. If your goal is to be a leader and maybe achieve a certain status at your company, maybe it's to run a certain organization or obtain a certain type of position, perhaps your word might be authority, presence, leadership, vision. Okay, so the word asks, how would someone who embodies this word move through today? And so you want to really start thinking through, like, if I have this word, how would I show up today? And suddenly your boundaries are going to become more clear. If you have order, if you want order or structure, you're going to create boundaries to create that order and structure. You're not going to let chaos take over. You're going to make rules, you're going to make guidelines. You can work with your calendar, you can work with you can even have a playbook at home. Decisions, they become easier. These distractions, they start to lose their grip, because you're not really just asking, should I do this? You're asking, is this aligned with who I'm becoming? So what you don't want to do with the word of the year, and this part really matters, is you don't want to force the word. If something's not coming, don't worry. Like, sit on it a little longer. Go play with a thesaurus. Go for a walk. Go have a conversation. Go watch a funny movie. Go do something that intuition is speaking to you about. So don't force the word. Don't over intellectualize it. And don't turn it into this pressure performance metric. You also don't want to abandon it if it feels uncomfortable. So once you finally choose it, if you're like, this is feeling uncomfortable, you don't want to abandon it, because often the things you resist are the things that are going to stretch you to the next level. And that is really important to remember, because your word, it's not meant to be perfect. It is meant to be revealing. So how do you choose your word? So sit back and look when we plan our year, when we go through a goal setting, dream stretching process, one of the things we like to do is look back at our previous year or at the previous phase. What worked? What didn't? How did it work? What were the magical moments? What was effective? What wasn't? How did you actually show up? Where did you miss the mark? Look at your now. What is a snapshot of your current situation? And then look at your future. Consider your life's vision, consider your mission, consider your 10, 20, 15-year goals. And then what are some of the things that you want to start calling into your life now and in the next couple of years? So as you're looking ahead, what kind of woman do you need to be in order to achieve that? What quality or qualities would support everything else? And the most important thing is to get quiet. Your job is to ask the question. However, you've got to get quiet so God can give it to you. And your word is going to land. It doesn't shout. It's not going to scream at you. It's just going to settle. It's going to come to you. But you've got to turn your listening ears on and get quiet enough to hear it. So you don't need to announce it, but you can. If you want to put up a social media post, great. But you don't need to share it with everyone. You also don't need to defend your word. You do need to live it. And so I'm going to encourage each and every one of you to not worry about perfection, but choose a word of the year that lives in alignment with you. This will give you something to return to when life gets noisy. It's going to give you something to stand on when everything is murky. And it's going to be like this beacon of light that you can move yourself into. And we are heading into 2026. One of the intentions that we have and that we really want within the Abundance Academy is to share ourselves and to share our voice and to raise our voice. One of the things that we're doing, I want to share something special with you because this conversation about identity, intention, and alignment, it's continually growing and evolving in a bigger way. On December 30th, I am finally launching a brand new podcast called The Abundance Effect. And so next week on this Lunch and Learn, we're actually going to do it Monday or Tuesday because Wednesday is Christmas Eve. So we'll do this Lunch and Learn on Monday or Tuesday. And so what I'm going to share is some really, really big news about the abundance effect, what it is, how it's working, why we're doing it, and what is actually happening. And it's actually going to be our very last Lunch and Learn episode because we are transitioning into the abundance effect. So we're going to close out this show. So tune in next week. It'll be our last episode. But this show is going to be for women who don't just want more success, but they want success that feels grounded. They want success that feels meaningful and deeply, deeply aligned. Now, in the podcast, we're still going to add tons and tons of value. However, it's got a different tone. It's got a different energy. So stay tuned because there's so many amazing things that we've got. We've recorded almost the whole season already. However, in the podcast, we're going to have really honest, really thoughtful conversations about things like identity and self-image, clarity, focus, intentional growth, leadership, presence, personal power, the inner work required to sustain the outer success. It's not about hustle culture. It's not about surface level motivation. It really is about the effect that your internal world has on everything that you create. And so if today's conversation about the word of the year resonated with you, if this podcast, I hope this podcast will feel like a natural step. The trailer is already live on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. So go ahead, listen to it now. It's called The Abundance Effect. And so hit follow, subscribe, be ready when the first episodes drop on December 30th. We cannot wait. I want you to really think of this as a space to keep anchoring yourself each and every week in the energy, clarity, and identity that you are choosing for your 2026. And I can't wait to share this next chapter with you because I hope you remain a part of it. You've been such an amazing supporter. You've been such an amazing part of our community here at the Abundance Academy with these Lunch and Learn episodes. Now, we don't need your new year to become something that is we want your new year to become something that aligns with you and who you are, where you're going. You want a clearer relationship of who you are already becoming. And I truly, truly believe that the abundance effect is going to help you do that. Your word of the year is going to do that. There is a new chapter, a new shift that is coming soon. So for today, let this be your pause. Go choose the word of the year, reflect on the word of the year. If you don't have it, start thinking about it, start feeling into it. Let it be your anchor as you step into your 2026 and let it stand alongside your goals because that's what really matters. Who you are, where you're going, and the difference you're making in this world. So for now, I'm signing off. I hope you have a beautiful, beautiful day. Tune into the Abundance Effect on Apple and Spotify, and I'll see you again very, very soon. Bye for now.